who goes after a girl significantly younger than them is severely lacking in their life. And I mean that confidence wise.
I came across this clip the other day, and I've been wanting to respond to it for a while now. Of course, this clip right here came from Rich Cooper's Twitter page, and of course, it is Mia Khalifa saying that I'll just put it this way here. She thinks that older guys dating younger women is kind of predatory. However, I don't think Mia is someone who should be talking on this matter, especially given her past with men and given her past in general. I mean, the woman is a former porn star, and don't worry, we'll be discussing that here a little bit more here in a second. Now, guys, this video right here is not meant to crap on Mia Khalifa. This video is not meant to crap on the girl that she's speaking to. The video itself is not actually designed to crap on the take as a whole. I'm just saying that there may be a common sense answer to the question of when exactly does it become predatory, at what age, and what age gap is actually predatory for men going after women. However, there's something else too that needs to be mentioned. There is this show on Hulu where it's kind of like a game show, I guess you can say it, where a lot of women, cougars to be exact, are going after younger men. So I think we have to answer the question of that one there in this video here. Now, guys, before we look at this clip, I want you to know right off the bat that I originally did not want to make this video at first, but the more and more I've thought about it, the more and more I felt like I needed to respond, because obviously there is a common sense answer and there's a very, very rational answer to the question of when exactly are age gaps predatory. Let's go ahead and roll this, and then I'll catch you guys on the other side.
Here we go.
Any guy who goes after a girl significantly younger than them is severely lacking in their life. And I mean that confidence wise. I mean, like, they are falling short in so many places that is the only place they can turn to feel like they have something on the scale of power.
And ultimately it's predatory. I mean, there's just no way to because you're manipulating someone who is not aware of what they're giving you.
Remember, guys.
Okay, but there's a problem. You see, this information coming from Mia Khalifa is not going to be viewed as welcoming because of Mia's past. She's a porn star. She has swallowed a lot of kids. I don't think that this right here is advice or a statement that is going to be received very well. As a matter of fact, it already was not received very well. A lot of comments came in kind of bashing this take, and I can understand the reasons why. Now, let me explain something else to you, too. Older men dating younger women does not appear to me to be a confidence problem. If anything, it tells me that the older man's confidence is through the roof. I mean, in order to get women of a certain type, you have to have a certain level of actual confidence. Have you ever heard the expression that the more confident man normally bags the 10? They normally bag that actual girl there. A lot of it's due to confidence. Now, Rich Cooper, he said it sounded like she was hitting a wall. I'm going to go ahead and be honest with you. She could very, very well be hitting a wall because, let's be honest, Mia Khalifa has not been relative for a while. And ever since she was on Pornhub, people just stopped clicking. By the way, I made some videos on this, why it is that I think that at some point in time, girls who do OnlyFans and they do that type of work, they are eventually going to hit a wall because no man's going to want them. And also, to go on top of that, you suddenly become disposable, meaning that you can't go any higher. I mean, there's always a brand new flavor coming out, and your success level will probably last no more than 3 to 5 years. Mia Khalifa is obviously an example of this. However, there is another person, an actual male dating coach, a former porn star named Sterling Cooper, who I think has a better answer to this question. And we'll get to that here in a second. But let me go ahead and break this down for you. If you are an older man and you are dating a younger woman, and I understand that somebody's going to say that it's predatory for a 60-year-old man to date a girl in her 20s, okay, and that right there, I would say that right there is a little bit creepy. However, I have noticed a trend that's been going on here a lot recently, especially since the turn of the millennium, and they got to explain why. And that right there, that phenomenon is this right here: men that are in their late 30s and early 40s dating women in their later 20s and early 30s. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, okay, a 7 to 10 year age gap is obviously pretty high. It still is to some people. I personally don't think it's that much. I think it would be much, much more concerning if it was a 30-year-old dating a 20-year-old. Or, as I said before, if it was like a 60-year-old dating a 20-year-old, or maybe if it was a 50-year-old dating a 20-year-old. But a 40-year-old or a 42 or a 43-year-old dating like a 25 or a 26-year-old is not that concerning, and it's not that creepy. As a matter of fact, working in the town that I live in, I worked a lot of retail. I saw a lot of guys who were like in their mid to late 40s with women like in their late 30s. They already had a family, had kids. They already had kids with one another and all that stuff there. So I don't think that right there is creepy, nor is it predatory. However, what is somewhat predatory is a 40-some-odd-year-old woman taking advantage of a 19 or 20-year-old guy. There is a game show propping that up right now on Hulu, as I kind of alluded to earlier, which kind of screams hypocrisy and screams that there's a bit of a double standard here that, quite frankly, nobody is addressing. By the way, double standard is something that we constantly get involved in when it comes with the radical left, and when we get in with the female influencers all the time, usually of the left, there's always some type of double standard there that nobody wants to speak of. Now, guys, I know that I mentioned Sterling Cooper earlier, and I think that he may have an answer to this question, and I'm going to kind of piggyback off of it and expand on it a little bit. Cooper did a video a while back, and I don't typically tend to watch Cooper that often, but he made some very, very good points here. He basically was telling men that if you are in your quote-unquote late 30s or early 40s, you can still get with women who are in their late 20s and even mid-20s if you actually have your shit together, which, by the way, I think may be the real reason why so many women aged, say, 23 to 28 or even 30 are going after men in their early to mid-40s because they, for the most part, have their shit together. And I'll explain that on the other side. With that there being said, let me go ahead and roll this, and let's talk about it afterwards. Really quick, before I show you what Cooper has to say, this is not an endorsement. I want to go ahead and make that perfectly clear. I'm not endorsing everything he says. I just think he provides an extremely good explanation of why it is that men of a certain age, say 35 and above, may have better luck with younger women. Let's go ahead and roll this.
From a guy the other day. I'm going to read it out to you. It says, how is it fair that porn stars like you get to have sex with 20-year-old chicks while a 50-year-old man has no chance in hell of doing that? I would completely disagree with that. You see, the older I've gotten, the easier it has gotten to have sex with younger, more beautiful women. The 18, 19, 20, 21-year-old chicks are the ones that I'm attracting now that I'm an older, more established man. Now, it's only easier to get younger, beautiful women as an older man if you have your shit together. If you're a 50-year-old dude and you've spent your life doing absolutely nothing, if you've accomplished nothing, if your body's out of shape, if you don't have any money, if you don't have any finances, you don't have a network, you haven't actually become a man of value, well then obviously it's going to be very, very hard to attract younger women. But if you're an older man who's done all of those things, who's kept himself in decent shape, who's built something, who's built up his wealth, who's built up his network, who's built up, his social value, who's built up his social skills, it is so much easier to attract young, beautiful women than when you were a younger man. When I was a young guy, like 18, 19, 20, I didn't get anywhere near as much pussy as I do now that I'm like a 35-year-old guy living in a big city. And I used to live in a big city back then. When I was a 19, 20, 21-year-old dude, I still lived in a relatively big city. But it was so much harder to get the attention of young, beautiful women and to attract them. And this was before things like Instagram and Tinder.
By the way, I can kind of attest to that to a certain degree. Not the screwing around portion, but I will say this right here. In my early to mid-30s and even today, normally the girls that talk to me, it's very, very weird, are normally girls between the ages of, say, I would probably argue like 22, 23, all the way to like, I'd say 30. Those would typically tend to be the ones that I have the most amount of success with. Granted, even though I'm single right now, I'm just simply throwing this out here. Now, guys, I personally feel like I'm a good enough dude, or at least an attractive enough guy to probably get some of these girls. I mean, I understand some ladies in the comment section are going to say, oh my God, dude, you're so ugly. Get over yourself. No, I got enough confidence in myself to know that I'm not the ugliest dude in the world, even though I'm not some freaking 10. but I at least have some type of self-worth. I do work out, I do keep myself in shape, and I do manage my money relatively well. And even though I'm living in an apartment here, that does not mean I don't have big dreams and I don't have a platform or things to strive for in the future. Don't worry, we'll be talking about that more towards the end of the video, because there are a lot of people out there, when they reach a certain age, they would tell other guys of a certain age just to flat out go ahead and give up, and I don't believe in giving up. There may be an economical reason why what Sterling said holds some merit. Check this out. I am a man, I'm going to use myself for example. I am in my mid 30s, okay? I grew up technically in the late 80s. I am what you call a very, very early stage millennial, or you could even say late stage Gen Xer. I kind of agree with the theory that Gen X ended right around 1987. And that's just my personal take. We're Reagan babies. Now, guys, the reason why I'm bringing this up is because a lot of people my age, especially when I got out of the Marines in 2007, jobs were not as easy to get, nor good paying jobs were. As a matter of fact, the first job that I worked when I got out of the Marines was I was working at a Lowe's in my hometown. I worked there for about 7 months. I eventually lost that job due to my own stupid decisions. Let's be honest, when you make stupid decisions early in life, that's how you actually learn. Some people don't learn unless they actually get put the hell down. It's called a humbling factor. You have to actually be humbled in life. What simply happened was I worked all types of jobs, and I eventually went to school. Now, I went and got a degree in paralegal. I eventually would go back, get a law enforcement certification. I would eventually go back and get another degree in sports studies, and here I am on YouTube. And of course, I still work whenever I can, because right now the economy is not exactly as free-flowing where I'm at in the state. And I also kind of anticipate another bad shift in the economy. But going back to 2007, 2008, we eventually had the financial crash, we had TARP, and we had a very, very bad economy. Now, a lot of men could not get their lives in order at that point in time. A lot of people had to struggle, and a lot of people had to go to school and get jobs where they had to get actual degrees, only to find out they could not get a job in the field that they had. So, of course, over time, people have found ways to actually get work, and people have found ways to get things together. So there are a lot of men who I would argue from about 2014 all the way to today, where they would have been about 28, 29 years old, have just now started to really and truly put their lives and put their shit together. What type of woman do you think will find that man more attractive? Probably a girl that's anywhere between 5 to maybe 10 years younger than them. I'm not saying that a 28-year-old was dating an 18-year-old or anything like that. I'm saying that a lot of men age 35, they found that they could actually get a hold of women that were like 24 and 25 years old. The reason why is because those men actually had their shit together. Meanwhile, men much, much younger than that guy there was not putting their crap together. I don't know if you guys have noticed or not, but a lot of Gen Z males are very effeminate. Now, regardless of what a woman may say, she typically tends to be attracted to a man that's actually masculine. I don't care what any one of these girls say. They typically tend to be attracted to very, very masculine males. And a lot of these males that are like in their mid to late 30s and early 40s, guess what? They become much, much more masculine because the men below them in age are not masculine at all. So it should not surprise people that women aged in their early to mid 20s or late 20s are gravitating towards men in their mid to late 30s, even early in mid 40s. It should not surprise anybody because those men right there have become more resourceful. And as a result of this, they've actually put their shit together. So it should not be a surprise. Now, as far as the predatory age gap, I'll put it this way right here. You normally know when something is predatory. And what I mean by predatory is this here. Say you're like a 60-year-old man that's like old and corroded and you're dating like a very, very young 20-year-old girl. Okay, obviously that right there is creepy. Kevin Samuels was what, 53, 54 years old when he passed away, and I'm not going to make fun of him. If anything, I'm going to say he went out like a G. The woman that he was with as he died, she was like 32 or 33 years old. Kevin, of course, had his shit put together, and Kevin had his life in order. I mean, there's a lot of people out there who don't like Kevin Samuels. There's a lot of people out there who actually do. I personally think that a lot of the advice that he gave women was actually very good. Go ahead and call me a bigoted SOB. I don't really and truly care. I don't care what people think of me being on this platform. But the fact of the matter is that if you are in your 50s and you got your shit together, chances are women who are younger than you, who quite frankly are going to want to be with somebody who does have their crap together, it's not that out of bounds to think that they might end up with that guy. Now, really quick, marriage statistics, and I already know that somebody is going to say something like, well, why don't you bring up the fact that the divorce rate is so high? Well, the divorce rate can be high for multiple reasons. Typically, infidelity is the main one. Obviously, there might be a bit of a maturity gap between the two, which I wanted to talk about earlier. I know it kind of took me a while to get to this, But let's just say that you're a man who's like 35 or 36 years old and you've got a girl who's 33 or 32. I hate to tell you this, but ladies, there are ladies out there who are in their early 30s who are not mature. I mean, trust me, there are some ladies out there that are like in their early 30s and mid 30s that don't really truly have their minds together. There are women out there in their 40s who are still carrying drama around from their freaking 20s. This right here does exist. So I think at the end of the day, I don't think the age gap really and truly matters as much as people think. I think it's more of a maturity gap. So, yes, while there may be some creepiness of much, much older men going after the younger girls, I've got to ask the question, is anybody putting a gun to that girl's head and making them go there? Like I said, it sounds to me like a lot of it sounds to me like there's a ridiculous double standard here. As I've mentioned before, it's not creepy for a man who's like in his early to mid 40s or late 30s to date a girl that's in her late 20s or mid 20s or early 30s. But at the same time, though, obviously that very, very large age gap, while it may look creepy, it's kind of a double standard because, as I mentioned before, you've got a show on Hulu where you've got women in their 40s and mid 40s and probably in some cases late 40s and early 50s going after men in their 20s. I mean, don't you see a bit of a double standard here? I just figure I'd throw that out there. And obviously the maturity gap is probably what's going to matter the most here. But I've got to throw this out here, and I've got to be very, very blunt about this. This type of thing coming from someone like Mia Khalifa is considered to be unwarranted because of what she is and what she used to do. I mean, the girl used to be a porn star. That's how she got famous, and then she tried to pass herself off as a sports personality. Well, most men don't think of you as a sports personality, Mia. Most men think of you as a girl who was on Pornhub taking the pipe. That right there is what men typically tend to think of. So, no, men are not going to take anything you have to say seriously, even if it is an insult or truthful, which, as I've already stated in this video, I do not entirely agree with you because obviously there's a double standard here. Now, guys, let me end this video on a note for you guys, all right? Now, go back to that Sterling Cooper clip. Go back to that actual clip. And by the way, I'll try to leave that in the comment section or the description box of this video here. I in no way, shape, or form am a MAGTOW guy or anything like that. But the reason why I'm giving you guys this little bit of information before this video ends, and I'm going to close on this note, is this right here. I am a man who is in his mid to late 30s, okay? I am a man who's been in several relationships, but of course none of them have worked out. Some of these relationships did not even go that long. And I understand the reasons why the girls may have ended it with me. It's because, for the most part, I didn't have my shit together. However, I got to say this, though. If you are a man who is in his late 20s to his early 30s or maybe even his late 30s or 40s, don't give up. And here's the reason why. People are going to tell you, and yes, my chair is rocking, people are going to tell you that you were too old and that you cannot make it and that you should basically just go ahead and give on up. Well, they're doing that crap right there for a reason because they themselves are probably not happy. One of the guys that I have listened to before, which quite frankly I don't really and truly care for, is Rollo Tomasi. And by the way, I'm not here to bash him, but it seems to me like the only thing he does is just bash girls. But yet the guy's been married for like 40 years. He hasn't been on a date or seen the current dating market. I understand the current dating market sucks, but keep yourself together, keep your shit together. Go hit the weights, go work out, get yourself in a good orderly shape, get your finances in order, and trust me, good things will eventually come to you. Also, something else too, keep your faith in God, and trust me, things will happen for you. Good things will occur. I know that I'm saying this maybe from a bit of a position of weakness, seeing how YouTube has shadow banned my channel, and YouTube, of course, is not allowing my videos to go out. But that right there does not mean that I'm going to give up. The other day I had somebody say to me in the comment section, you've got like 300 some odd uploads and you're not monetized. Well, that right there is how the YouTube game works. The person who laid that comment down has got 15 videos with only 2 subscribers. So do me a favor and shut the hell up. If you want to actually try doing this right here, if you think you're so much better, then why don't you create your own friggin' channel and do it? Fact of the matter is this right here. You lose when you give up. And granted, I have other things that I do. I mean, YouTube's not the only thing that I do. I mean, I do go out and try to get work. And of course, anytime work is available, I always take it, like I did last year before the end of the year, like I did twice last year. I just didn't do it this year. Fact of the matter is this right here. You can never, ever, ever, under any circumstances, give up. There are going to be people out there who are going to tell you, you just need to just give the hell up on life. Just quit. Don't listen to those damn people. Keep moving forward. Get your act together. Get your shit in order, and trust me, good things will come to you. Guys, John Claymore here. If you like the content, hit the like button, subscribe, share the video, sign up in the comment section. I want to get you guys' thoughts, and I'll see you guys later.